Hello and welcome to another episode of StuG Build. Let's see what is behind us and what we have to do. When I was finishing last episode, I still was not sure in what painting direction I would like to go. The tricolor camo was an obvious option, but I really didn't want to go this way. Well, I didn't come up with another idea, so it is what it is. But don't worry, maybe the camo will be the same way, but I will show you some new techniques and new ways of making, for example, chipping. So stay tuned and let's start. Before painting, it is crucial to clean all your model of grease from your fingers, glue, debonders and all things that may affect in problems with paint distribution. In previous projects I have showed you already, for chipping, I have been using a technique involving a use of brush and sponge technique. Today I will show you something different. This time I'm going to use a chipping fluid, which is also a great way of ruining the paintwork of your model. How to use it? Just spray it with an airbrush, wait for it to dry, and then put a layer of paint which you want to scratch and make chips. To make your life easier on chipping level, try not to put too thick layer of paint and rather use water-based paints than lacquers. As you see, I have started with a dark yellow paint as a base for my camo scheme. This is a standard procedure for German camos. As I will also apply the camo scheme at side armor, I have joined them temporarily for a time of painting. I may decide not to use all of them and I want them to look coherently. Okay, so everything is ready and now we can start to put a camo scheme. Besides dark yellow, I have also used red-brown color and Russian green, but I will get back to this last color in a moment. As for painting the camo scheme, there are a few rules which are very important to follow. 1. Always use highly diluted paint. It builds the effects slower and gives you some more options on correcting and building the shapes. 2. Set the pressure lower for a slower flow of paint. The reason is the same as above. Additionally, highly diluted paint will not clog your airbrush. 3. Keep your airbrush close to the surface. It will help you to make edges sharper and the overspray will be minimal. So, paint dilution, air pressure and the distance are those factors you will have to work out jointly for yourself. There are no fixed rules. You just have to experiment with an airbrush setting and paint in it. As Camo is rising in front of our eyes, I want to make one remark about my style of modeling. Well, as you may have seen, I am not a master of research, and I am not always keeping up with historical correctness. I mean, sometimes I am. When a model seems interesting, not only on a visual level, I am reading a lot about its history, and it often has a reflection on how I build it finally. At the same time, I hate to be a slave of boundaries and limitations. Therefore, modeling for me personally is more an act of artistic message than a way of historical vehicle projection. So, saying that, please do not look for historical correctness in my models and do not base your work on mine if you are looking for this. I know this green looks odd now, and you might think I messed something up with color selection, but please be patient. It will blend just perfectly with the rest of colors once I will get to oil painting stage. The dark green, which I would normally use, could be too dark for this model in my imagination. I wonder if you would agree with me. As you see, I mark the position of camo on model and then I transfer it to side armor. In the end, it will give us the effect of coherency of camouflage covering the whole model. Okay, so the main painting is already behind us and entire camo scheme is placed. So, now it is the time for chipping. The chipping fluid is activated by water. You just have to moisten the surface and then, depending on how thick the paint layer is and what kind of paint you used, the chipping will start. For making scratches and chips, I use paintbrushes, toothbrush and sharp objects like tweezers, needles or hobby knife. I know I have a tendency to make my models rather tired and used, but what can I do? This is how I see them in my crazy head. Nevertheless, you must admit that this technique, gives far more options of making our model chipped than brush and sponge technique. Just look how cool effects it gave me while playing with side walls of chassis. Remember to make chipping of wheels too. Maybe not to this extent, but it is always the matter of what you like. While using the chipping fluid, similarly as in case of sponge technique, some corrections might be needed. Or to enhance some effects, or to correct places where you just went wild and just too far. I want to show you what are my tools for oil painting. As you see, this is the regular small set of oil paints. Nothing fancy, but does the job just perfectly. Highly diluted oils arced perfectly as a pin wash. Just see it for yourself. Oh, and not to forget, after chipping and directly before weathering, I always spray the gloss varnish. I do that to protect my previous paintwork and for easier distribution of oils and washes. To blend all camo colors, I use dot filtering made with oil paints. This time, instead of sliding the brush damped with thinner, I tap and slide the paint to the surface with use of soft brush, without the thinner. This time I will use dry light soil, Kursk soil and dark brown wash to weather the chassis. All of those are ammo products. Okay, let's leave the model to dry, and in the meantime I have prepared figures and some details I would like to put on the StuG. Nothing fancy, just some additional ammo, fuel and accessories. It's time now to put it all together. As you know, this is my favorite part of the build, and it is like putting together puzzle pieces where the final image is slowly building in front of your eyes. Oh, it's yummy yummy yummy. I wanted sidearms to be incomplete in order to show the chassis, but also to make a StuG more interesting and less plain. But at the same time, I fell in love with those armor plates and I didn't want to leave them on the side. So I came to the idea that StuG crew also liked those plates so much they have decided to take those with them even after when handles have been broken. The last step in this build was tarp and camo net preparation. For tarp, I used tissue soaked in diluted wood glue. As you see, I have colored tarp with deep blue color just to break the colors of StuG and make the whole composition a little bit more eye-catching. The same technique I used for a net which is made of cut to size bandage. In this case I used dark yellow coral as it is camo. Blue color of net would serve perfectly for aiming, not hiding. So here we are. StuG is ready. Okay, maybe uniforms are not perfectly correct and some more historical errors might be found. But I like it. I like it very much and that's it. Okay, so summing up. The RFM did a great job on the StuG. I have heard the opinion that if you would like to build the StuG in its late specification, this set is the closest to historical reality and has few rather minor mistakes. You know, I don't mind correctness, but still some of you might consider that as a real value. I had fun while building this model, and even when it is rather a complex set and has hundreds of small parts, it didn't cause many problems. Maybe instructions could be more clear, but at the same time, maybe there is no way of showing complicated steps in an easy way. I honestly don't know, as I was never preparing instructions for models. As always, I want to say thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed this time and maybe I have even inspired you somehow in your modeling journey. Saying that, please subscribe to the channel for the sake of my future projects and hit the like button if you find this video interesting. Okay, stay safe, happy, keep your workbench clean and hopefully see you next time in the next episode. Ciao!